Hello and welcome to our video, 10 informations you need to know about yesterday. In this video, we'll be covering some of the most important events that took place yesterday, giving you a quick summary of each one. Ministers shelve pension move. According to the Daily Express, the Work and Pensions Secretary, Mel Stride, is expected to inform MPs that the government will not bring forward the date for raising the state pension age from 66 to 68. The announcement suggests that any decision on the matter will be postponed until after the next general election, as the government deems it inappropriate to make the change at this time. The proposed increase to 68 is scheduled to take effect in 2046. Advocates had cautioned that expediting the change would have placed tens of thousands of elderly workers at risk of poverty. UK bets on carbon capture. The Guardian reported that the government plans to take a risky move by relying on technology to capture and store carbon dioxide in underwater caverns to facilitate the expansion of oil and gas in the North Sea, despite scientific skepticism. This controversial approach is believed to be a key component of the government's Powering Up Britain strategy. However, Kevin Anderson, a professor of energy and climate at the University of Manchester, criticized the strategy, stating that it has little merit and will only delay real cuts in emissions. The Secretary for Energy Security and Net Zero, Grant Shapps, is scheduled to unveil the Powering Up Britain strategy today. Times defies Ofgem threat. The Times is facing criminal sanctions from Ofgem for publishing an article exposing how British gas agents were frequently trespassing into customers' homes. The energy regulator has warned that the newspaper could face unlimited fines unless it hands over all the relevant materials, including confidential notes and undercover footage. However, the Times has refused to comply with the request. Grant Shapps, the Secretary for Energy Security and Net Zero, expressed his opinion that Ofgem should prioritize resolving the issue rather than pursuing journalists who are performing their duties. Supermarkets' rotten meat worry. An investigation has revealed that supermarkets may have unknowingly sold spoiled meat for several years. Farmers Weekly magazine reported that decaying pork was combined with fresh meat before processing, and frozen meat was occasionally defrosted on the factory floor. Leading supermarket chains conducted immediate inspections last night to ensure that goods containing meat processed by the Midlands-based firm in question were no longer available for purchase. According to former employees, the deception had persisted for at least 20 years, and one individual stated that they had been apprehensive about the possibility of causing someone's death. Mail hits back at Harry claims. Associated Newspaper's legal team has argued before a High Court judge that Prince Harry and 6 other celebrities have exceeded the time limit for filing privacy claims against the Mail titles. Although some of the allegations against Associated date back many years, the law stipulates that claims must be brought within 6 years. The publisher's attorneys also contend that Harry's case against the owner of the Daily Mail relies on an alleged confession from an untrustworthy private investigator who has since withdrawn his evidence. Report to urge action on religious issues. A report set to be unveiled by Michael Gove's Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities will recommend that the government take a stronger stance in addressing oppression, violence, and radicalization in religious environments, according to sources cited by The Guardian. The report, written by Colin Bloom, the former head of the Conservative Christian Fellowship, is expected to call for action on a variety of issues, including unregulated faith schools, forced marriage, and religious nationalism. Drought hit butterfly numbers. A new study reveals that the heatwave and drought that occurred in the summer of last year caused British butterfly populations to decline later in the year. While the brimstone, small tortoiseshell, and small white, among other common species, had healthy or average numbers during the spring and early summer of 2022, subsequent generations in late summer saw significant reductions because the food plants that caterpillars rely on for the next generation died off. The result is a decrease in the number of butterflies in the following generation, stated Dr. Richard Fox, head of science for butterfly conservation. Report claims school breach on gender. A new report claims that schools are frequently enabling children to transition gender without informing their parents, representing a mass breach of safeguarding. The Policy Exchange, a right-of-center think tank, conducted research revealing that 40% of 150 secondary schools in England permit pupils to change gender without their parents' permission. The report also stated that schools were effectively facilitating medical interventions on site by assisting students in assuming their desired identity. The Department for Education stated that it was collaborating closely with the Minister for Women and Equalities to create guidelines for schools. MP suggests litter labeling. An MP has proposed that fast food takeaway wrappers display customers' license plates to discourage littering. James Wilde, a former government advisor and the Conservative MP for North West Norfolk, stated that his suggestion was inspired by discarded fast food litter, which he claimed anyone driving on country roads or participating in a litter pickup would be familiar with. However, according to the Telegraph, ministers are not enthusiastic about the proposal at the moment. Prayers for hospitalized Pope. Pope Francis has been diagnosed with a respiratory infection and will be hospitalized in Rome for a few days, according to the Vatican. The 86-year-old has experienced breathing difficulties in recent days and requires appropriate hospital medical therapy. As noted by Inside the Vatican, the pontiff has had mobility issues related to his knee in recent months, necessitating the use of a wheelchair. It is now a time for prayer for Pope Francis and the Church.